front door slammed so hard the picture frames rattled on the hallway wall. Lily Hartman froze in the kitchen, one hand resting on her 6-month belly, the other gripping the edge of the counter to steady herself. Jason Colwood stumbled in, smelling of expensive cologne Lily didn't own and whiskey she never bought. His shirt was wrinkled, his tie missing, and his eyes carried that reckless shine she had learned to fear. "You're still awake?" he snapped, as if she had committed some crime by waiting for her own husband. Lily swallowed. "It's almost 3 in the morning, Jason. I thought something happened." "What happened?" he barked, dropping his keys. "Is that you're suffocating, always calling, always checking. You're lucky I even came home." Her heart squeezed. She had called once when the baby kicked too hard, and she panicked. She wanted him to hear it. She wanted him to feel included. But now she saw the lipstick smear on his collar. A whisper of perfume that didn't belong to her. A truth she'd been afraid to name. "Were you with her?" Lily asked quietly. Jason's jaw tightened. "Don't start. I deserve to know," she whispered. His hand lifted sharply. Not a punch. Not anything that left blood or broken bones, but enough to snap her head sideways, enough to send fear stabbing through her chest, enough to make her hand fly to her stomach in instinctive protection. For a full second, the house went silent. Even Jason seemed startled by his own outburst. Lily felt her pulse thunder in her ears as she backed away, reaching blindly for her phone on the counter. "Lily, don't," he warned, stepping toward her. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't stop. She pressed the only numbers she could think of. 911, what's your emergency? Lily's voice cracked. "Please, I'm pregnant. My husband, he." Jason froze, shock turning to rage. And in that instant, Lily realized there was no going back. Her next decision would change both their lives forever. Red and blue lights flashed through the thin curtains as the ambulance pulled up to the curb. Lily sat on the couch, arms wrapped around her belly, trying to steady her breathing. Her cheek throbbed, not from the strike itself, but from the shock of realizing Jason had finally crossed a line she could never uncross. 2 paramedics stepped inside after the officers waved them through. One of them, a woman with calm eyes and a soft voice, knelt beside Lily. "Ma'am, I'm Emily. Can you tell me where you're hurt?" Lily shook her head. It's not that. I'm pregnant. 6 months. My stomach tightened after everything happened." Emily nodded gently. "Okay, let's just make sure you and the baby are safe." The other paramedic took her vitals while Emily placed a hand on Lily's wrist. "Your heart rate is elevated. Are you feeling dizzy?" "I'm scared," Lily whispered. "I don't want him near me." One of the officers stepped forward. "He won't be. He's outside right now. We're assessing the situation." But Lily could still hear him through the door. Jason's voice raised, insisting he did nothing, that Lily was overreacting, that he barely touched her. The tone wasn't remorse. It was entitlement. It was outrage at losing control. Emily exchanged a knowing glance with the officer. "Let's transport her." While they eased Lily onto the stretcher, Jason suddenly lunged toward the doorway. "Lily, you're not doing this. You're not dragging my name through the mud because you can't handle your hormones," he shouted. The officer quickly stepped between them. "Sir, step back." Jason growled, but the officer didn't move. The line was drawn. Inside the ambulance, Lily stared up at the dim ceiling lights as they drove away. Every bump in the road made her clutch her stomach. The baby shifted small, reassuring movements, but fear still coiled in her chest. At the hospital entrance, someone familiar appeared. Dr. Ethan Vance, the calm, steady cardiologist she'd met months before, stood under the floodlights, still wearing his night shift coat. "Lily?" he said, surprised but concerned. Her voice trembled. I didn't know who else would be here." "It's okay. You're safe now," Ethan assured her, walking beside the stretcher. But as they entered the hospital, an officer approached Ethan. "Doctor, just so you're aware, her husband is demanding updates. He says he's coming here next." Lily's eyes widened, terror tightening her throat. And Ethan realized this night was about to become far more dangerous than he expected. The automatic doors slid open with a soft hiss as Lily was wheeled into the brightly lit triage bay. Ethan walked alongside the stretcher, keeping his voice calm and steady, a stark contrast to the storm inside Lily's chest. Nurses moved swiftly, adjusting monitors, checking her vitals, dimming the overhead lights to ease her anxiety. "You're safe here," Ethan repeated gently, standing at her bedside. "We're going to check the baby right away." A nurse applied warm gel to Lily's abdomen and moved the ultrasound wand slowly. Lily held her breath until the room filled with the rhythmic flutter of a tiny heartbeat. Relief washed over her so suddenly she almost cried. "Baby's heart rate is strong," the nurse said with a reassuring smile. Lily closed her eyes, exhaling shakily. Thank God. But the relief lasted only seconds before she remembered Jason's threat that he was coming, that he wouldn't let this go. Fear crept back into her bones. Ethan noticed. "Lily, whatever happened tonight, whatever he did, it's not your fault." Her voice cracked. "He used to be different. He wasn't always this angry. I just kept hoping things would get better." "That's what good people do," Ethan said softly. "They hope, but hope shouldn't hurt you." A knock interrupted them. A police officer, serious, composed, stepped inside. "Ma'am, I need to confirm a few details for the report. Afterward, we can discuss protective options." "Everyone adownics." Lily nodded, though her hands trembled. She answered every question while Ethan stayed close, offering a quiet anchor in the chaos. When the officer stepped out, Ethan gently placed a water cup on the bedside tray. "You're doing incredibly strong," he said, "but you don't have to go through this alone." Lily looked up at him, eyes glistening. "I don't know what to do next." Before Ethan could answer, a nurse hurried over. "Dr. Vance?" Her husband just arrived downstairs. "Security is holding him, but he's demanding access to her medical information." Lily's breath hitched. No, please, I can't see him." "You won't," Ethan promised, a firmness in his voice she hadn't seen before. "I'll make sure of it." Down the hallway, raised voices echoed Jason's voice, sharp and furious. He was closer than she expected. Ethan turned toward the sound, jaw tightening. "Stay here. I'm going to handle this," he said, stepping toward the door. Lily reached out, voice trembling. "Ethan, be careful." He glanced back, eyes serious. "I will, but he won't get near you tonight." Yet none of them knew Jason wasn't the only danger heading their way. Lily was discharged from the hospital just after sunrise, exhaustion weighing down every step she took. The air outside was cold and sharp, the kind that made the city feel too big, too loud, too unforgiving. Ethan walked beside her as far as the curb, respecting her independence, but refusing to let her leave unsupported. "Text me when you get home," he said quietly, "just so I know you and the baby made it in safely." Lily nodded, clutching the discharge papers. "Thank you for everything tonight." He gave her a small, reassuring smile. "You deserve safety, Lily. Remember that." She swallowed hard as she climbed into the cab. Part of her wanted to stay in the warm glow of his gentleness, but life didn't pause for comfort. It forced her to keep moving. The ride back to her apartment felt surreal. Her building stood exactly as she left it, but the moment she slid her key into the lock, something was wrong. The key didn't turn, not even a little. She tried again. And again, then she saw it, a brand new lock, freshly installed, the metal still shining. Her heart dropped. No. End quote. She pressed her forehead against the door, panic bubbling in her chest. All her things were inside, her prenatal medication, her clothes, her documents. Jason had changed the lock while she was in the hospital. He had literally shut her out of her own life. A neighbor cracked open his door. "Are you all right, Lily?" She forced a shaky smile. "Just some trouble with the lock." He nodded sympathetically but retreated, not wanting to be involved. Lily backed away from the door, trembling. Where was she supposed to go? She couldn't stay outside in the cold. She couldn't call Jason, and she sure as hell couldn't break in, not with a baby inside her and police already involved. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You can't shut me out, Lily. Come home and talk like an adult." Jason. Her breath caught. He was watching her. Somewhere nearby. Suddenly, the street didn't feel empty anymore. Every parked car, every window, every shadow felt threatening. She spun slowly, scanning the block, pulse racing. Another message appeared. "I see you. Stop being dramatic and open the door." Lily's stomach dropped. He wasn't just nearby. He was close enough to see her right now. Lily's hands shook so hard she nearly dropped her phone. The cold morning air bit at her cheeks, but it was nothing compared to the chilling realization that Jason was watching her. She turned slowly, scanning each parked car, each window, each doorway. No movement, no figure, just the eerie sense of being stalked. She backed away from her building, pulling her coat tight around her belly. She needed help, somewhere safe to breathe and think. With trembling fingers, she called a cab, glancing over her shoulder every few seconds until it arrived. "Where to?" the driver asked. Lily hesitated. She had nowhere left, no family close by, no friends she could burden. But one name surfaced, someone who had stood beside her without hesitation. "Take me to Manhattan General Hospital," she whispered. When she stepped inside the hospital lobby, warm air wrapped around her like a fragile shield. Nurses moved briskly, visitors chatted softly, and the familiar antiseptic scent grounded her nerves. She spotted Ethan near the reception desk, reviewing charts on a tablet. The moment he saw her, his face tightened with concern. "Lily? What happened?" he asked, guiding her to a quieter corner. "He changed the locks," she said, voice trembling. "I can't get inside. He texted me. He said he could see me." Ethan's expression darkened. "You shouldn't be out there alone." "I didn't know where else to go." "That's what I'm here for," he said, gently but firmly. "We need to find you a safe place." Before Lily could respond, her phone buzzed again. Another text, this time a photo. Her front door, taken from mere steps away. Time-stamped 3 minutes earlier. Her breath caught. He was right there, right behind me. Ethan leaned closer, his voice low and controlled. "Lily, this is escalating. You need protection, legally and physically." "I know," she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. "I just wanted a normal life, a husband who loved me, a safe home for my baby." "You will," he said softly, "but right now you need distance from him." A nurse hurried over. "Dr. Vance, social services is available if she needs temporary housing support. Entry." Before Ethan could reply, Lily's phone buzzed once more, this time an unknown email notification. The subject line made her blood run cold. "You should know what he's been hiding." Attached was a financial document, one Lily had never seen before. Her name was on it, his signature too. But the debt linked to it, massive, alarming, was not hers. Her voice broke. He put me on his debts, without telling me." Ethan took the phone, eyes narrowing. And Lily realized this wasn't just about broken trust or a violent night. Jason had planned to destroy her long before she picked up the phone and dialed 911. Ethan studied the financial document on Lily's phone, his jaw tightening as he scrolled. Lily watched anxiously, twisting her fingers together, her breath catching every time he paused. "Lily, this isn't a simple oversight," he finally said. "This looks deliberate. He attached your name to thousands of dollars in debt. If he defaults, collectors will come after you." Her stomach dropped. "But I never signed anything. I would never." "He forged at least part of this," Ethan said quietly, "and he expected you not to notice." Lily pressed a hand to her mouth. First the violence, now this. It wasn't just her safety he threatened, it was her entire future, her child's future. The walls of the hospital seemed to tilt as panic crept in, suffocating and sharp. Seeing her distress, Ethan placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "We're not letting him do this to you. I know someone, one of the best family law attorneys in Manhattan. She handles domestic cases, financial manipulation, all of it. Let me call her." Lily blinked through tears. I don't know if I can afford a lawyer." "You won't pay a cent tonight," Ethan said firmly. "Let's just get you protected first. And bother." He stepped aside to make the call, his tone clipped, controlled, so different from the gentle voice he used with her. Lily exhaled shakily. She'd forgotten what it felt like to have someone on her side without conditions. A few minutes later, Ethan returned. "She's on her way. In the meantime, social services can arrange temporary housing for you. Somewhere safe. Somewhere he can't reach." Lily nodded slowly. The thought of leaving everything, her clothes, her baby supplies, the life she tried so hard to hold together, felt like peeling off a piece of herself. But staying was no longer an option. A social worker appeared with warm eyes and a clipboard. "We can place you in a protected apartment for the next few days. It's confidential housing. Only authorized personnel know the location." Lily swallowed. "I don't want him near me. Not anymore." End quote. End quote. "You're doing the right thing," the social worker assured her. Ethan stepped closer, lowering his voice. You're incredibly brave. I hope you know that. Before Lily could respond, the elevator chimed loudly. Voices echoed through the hallway, sharp, familiar, furious. Her blood ran cold. Jason's voice. I'm her husband. You can't keep me from her. She belongs at home with me. Ethan immediately stepped in front of Lily, shielding her from view as security rushed toward the commotion. Lily, he whispered, eyes locked on hers, don't move. Because Jason wasn't shouting anymore, he was coming down the hall. Jason's angry footsteps echoed before he even appeared, each one slicing through the quiet hospital corridor. Lily pressed herself back against the wall, her hands instinctively guarding her stomach. Ethan remained planted in front of her, his frame a firm barrier. 2 security guards intercepted Jason halfway down the hall. Sir, you need to calm down. I'm her husband, Jason barked, chest heaving. You can't keep me from her. She lied. She's manipulating everyone here. Ethan stepped forward just enough for Jason to see him, and that only fueled Jason's rage. Oh, this makes sense now, Jason sneered. The concerned doctor. I should have known she'd find someone to play hero. Ethan's voice was steady. You need to leave, Jason, now. You don't tell me what to do, Jason snapped. She's coming home with me. As see. No, Lily whispered. Her voice trembled, but the word was final. Jason's eyes snapped toward her. Lily, put your coat on. We're leaving. You're embarrassing yourself. Before Lily could speak, a new voice sliced cleanly through the tension. That's enough. A woman in a charcoal suit strode toward them, confidence radiating from every step. She didn't raise her voice, but the authority in it silenced even Jason. She extended a business card toward him, without breaking eye contact. Caroline Rhodes, family law attorney. I represent Lily Hartman. Jason scoffed. You think getting some lawyer changes anything? It already has, Caroline replied. There is now a temporary no-contact request being processed. If you take one step closer to her, security will escort you out and you will face charges. Jason's nostrils flared. You can't file anything without my signature. That's the beauty of emergency petitions, she said coolly. We don't need your approval. And one of the 17 description of force. The guards tightened their stance. Jason looked between Caroline, Ethan, and Lily, realizing the control he once had over her was slipping. This isn't over, he hissed. Oh, it very much is, Caroline replied, for tonight at least. Security forced Jason back toward the elevators despite his protests. His last glare toward Lily was filled with a hatred that sent a cold shiver up her spine. When he was finally gone, Lily collapsed onto the nearest chair, tears spilling. He won't stop, she whispered. He'll make this worse. Caroline knelt in front of her. He can try, but starting today, you're not fighting alone. Ethan added softly, we'll make sure you and the baby are safe. Lily nodded, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. She thought the worst was over, but deep down, something told her Jason wasn't done. A hospital PA system crackled overhead. Code Gray. Security alert at the main entrance. Caroline stiffened. Ethan's eyes snapped toward the doors. Because Jason wasn't leaving the building after all. The hospital descended into controlled chaos as the overhead alert repeated, its metallic echo stretching through every hallway. Lily clutched the arms of the chair, her pulse racing. Caroline stood protectively between her and the entrance, while Ethan moved closer, ready to intervene if necessary. A security officer rushed toward them. We've got him contained at the front doors. He's demanding access, shouting that his wife has been kidnapped. We're escorting him off property now. Lily sagged with relief, covering her face with shaking hands. This is unreal. He won't stop. Caroline knelt beside her again. That's why we need to secure you somewhere he can't reach. I've already spoken to social services. They have an available apartment in a protected building, quiet, discreet, and off the record. Lily nodded slowly. I don't have anything with me. Not even clothes. We'll handle that, Ethan said gently. The hospital keeps emergency clothing packs for displaced patients, and tomorrow we'll retrieve your essentials safely with police supervision. It was the first glimpse of a plan, a small island in the middle of a storm. Lily exhaled shakily, feeling a faint flicker of control returning to her chest. 2 hours later, after endless paperwork and whispered coordination, a transport car arrived for her. The early morning light filtered through the trees as Lily stepped outside with Caroline on one side and Ethan on the other. The world felt fragile, as though one wrong move could shatter the thin layer of safety forming around her. The protected apartment was in a modest, quiet brick building on the edge of Brooklyn, nothing luxurious, but warm and calm. The supervisor handed Lily a key and a folder of emergency contacts. "No one gets inside without clearance," he assured her. "Your husband won't know this location." Inside, the apartment smelled faintly of lavender cleaner. A small sofa, a tidy kitchen, a soft bed with folded blankets. Simple, but hers. A place to breathe. Ethan lingered in the doorway, hesitant. "If you need anything, even just someone to talk to, call me." Lily met his eyes, gratitude swelling in her throat. "Thank you." "I mean it," Caroline added. "Get some rest. Tomorrow, we start filing everything formally. And once this is in motion, he won't be able to manipulate you anymore." Lily nodded, feeling the smallest seed of hope take root. When they left, she locked the door behind them, sliding the chain across. Alone, she finally allowed the tears to fall, relief, fear, exhaustion, blending into one quiet release. She walked to the window and pulled the curtains aside. The street below was calm, empty. Then she froze. A dark sedan sat across the road. Engine running. Lights off. No driver visible. And Lily felt her knees buckle as she realized the safe house might not be safe at all. Lily backed away from the window, her breath hitching as the sight of the idling sedan burned into her mind. She didn't know the make or model, but she recognized the feeling it gave her, Jason's presence. That suffocating sense of being watched, even when alone. She lowered the curtains slowly, forcing herself not to panic. This was supposed to be a safe house, a place he couldn't find. Her phone buzzed. For a split second, she feared it was Jason again, but the name glowing on the screen made her heart lurch in a different way. Brooke Carver, Jason's mistress. Lily stared at the notification, confusion tightening in her chest. She hadn't spoken to Brooke in over a year, and even then only in passing at company events. Why would she reach out now? The message preview read, "We need to talk. You should know the truth before he ruins you." End quote. Lily hesitated, then opened the message. Brooke had sent a voice memo, 30 seconds long. Lily pressed play with a shaking thumb. Brooke's voice came through cold, clipped, nothing like the breezy persona she flaunted online. "Lily, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for myself. Jason's falling apart, and he's dragging everyone with him. You're not the only one he lied to." Another message popped up instantly. "He used your name on more than one loan. He told me you agreed. I didn't believe him, so I checked." Lily's knees nearly gave out. "More than one loan?" She typed with trembling hands. "What are you talking about? Where did you find this?" Brooke responded with a screenshot, an email thread between Jason and a private lender. His wording was smooth, rehearsed, claiming Lily fully understood the terms and trusted him to manage the paperwork. The lies were astonishing, but what hit harder was the date. He had begun this long before the marriage unraveled. The betrayal wasn't sudden, it was planned. Lily felt the room spin. If these debts surfaced publicly, she would be tied to Jason, legally and financially, for years. Her baby's future could be jeopardized. Another message came. "Also, you should know he's blaming everything on you at work. He told upper management you're unstable and trying to ruin his career." Lily's chest tightened painfully. "Why are you telling me this?" Brooke replied bluntly, "Because he told me I'm next. I'm not going down with him, and you shouldn't either." Before Lily could respond, a sharp knock jolted her. 3 rapid taps. Then silence. Her blood turned to ice. No one was supposed to know she was here, not even her neighbors. The knocking came again, louder this time. She backed away from the door, heart pounding so violently she thought she might faint. Because whoever stood outside wasn't calling her name, but they were whispering it. The knocking grew sharper, more urgent. Lily's pulse hammered against her ribs as she backed toward the corner of the living room, clutching her phone like a lifeline. She didn't dare speak. She didn't dare breathe. The whispers outside the door were muffled, but unmistakably male, and too calm to be a stranger simply asking for directions. She typed one message to Ethan. "Someone is outside my door, whispering my name." She hit send, her hands trembling violently. A moment later, her phone buzzed. "I'm on my way. Do not open the door." Another buzz followed. "Call 911 now." Before she could dial, Footsteps echoed in the hallway outside, moving quickly, then fading. The knocking stopped. Silence fell thick and suffocating. It felt like the entire building was holding its breath with her. And then her phone rang. Not Ethan. Not Caroline. Unknown caller. Her stomach dropped. She declined the call immediately, but the phone rang again. And again. Finally, it stopped, leaving only the soft hum of the refrigerator to fill the room. 10 minutes later, heavy footsteps climbed the stairs. Lily tensed, but this time, a familiar voice called softly through the door. "Lily? It's Ethan." She practically collapsed with relief as she unlocked the chain and opened the door just enough to see his face concerned, breathless, still wearing his hospital badge. "Are you okay?" he asked, stepping inside quickly as she shut the door behind him. Lily nodded shakily. He was whispering my name, like he knew exactly where I was. Ethan's expression hardened. Jason shouldn't know this address. Protected housing doesn't share information, which means someone gave it to him. Lily's breath hitched. But who? Instead of answering, Ethan held up his phone. "Before I left, I made some calls. There's something you need to see. Thanks for watching." He turned the screen toward her. A screenshot of an internal memo from Jason's company. Subject: Urgent personnel matter. The body of the email: Please be aware, Lily Hartman may attempt to smear my reputation. She is mentally unstable due to pregnancy complications. Do not disclose any building or client information to her or anyone asking on her behalf. Lily felt the floor tilt under her. "He's trying to destroy your credibility," Ethan said quietly. "He wants people to think you're irrational. Dangerous even. And someone believed him enough to tell him where I am." Ethan swallowed hard. "It gets worse. This memo was forwarded from a personal email account, one belonging to someone you know." Lily stared at him, dread coiling in her chest. "Who?" she whispered. Ethan hesitated, then said the name. "Your coworker, Megan. She's the one who gave him your location." Lily stared at Ethan, the name echoing in her mind like a distant bell. Megan, her coworker, the woman she had trusted during countless late-night shifts, shared lunch breaks with, confided in about her pregnancy fears. The betrayal hit harder than she expected, sharp enough to leave her momentarily breathless. "Megan gave him my address?" she whispered. "Why would she do that?" Ethan hesitated. "I don't know her motives, but she forwarded that memo, and Jason used it to convince her you were in crisis and needed to be monitored. He twisted the situation so she believed she was helping." Lily sank onto the small sofa, burying her face in her hands. I can't believe she'd fall for his lies. "People like Jason are good at manipulation," Ethan said gently. "They know how to sound convincing, how to exploit empathy." A soft knock on the door made Lily jolt, but Ethan checked the peephole before opening it. Caroline stepped inside, her expression sharp and businesslike. "I came as fast as I could," she said. "Ethan briefed me on Megan's involvement." Lily nodded weakly. "What can we do?" "We request an emergency enhancement to your protective order," Caroline said. "If Jason comes within 100 yards of you, he'll be arrested immediately, and anyone leaking your location can face legal consequences." Lily looked up, relief and gratitude warring with fear. "Can we really do that?" "We can," Caroline replied, "and we will." And 7. Ethan sat beside Lily, not too close, but close enough that she felt steadied. Caroline also called in a favor. "A judge has agreed to see us today. Your case is being prioritized." Lily blinked. "Today? Already?" "That's the advantage of having solid evidence," Caroline said. "And Jason is building his own case against himself with every stunt he pulls." A small spark of strength flickered in Lily's chest. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't only reacting, she was acting. Caroline gathered her files. "Be ready to leave in 20 minutes. The court hearing will determine the next phase of your protection. This is your chance to take control." As Caroline stepped outside to take a call, Lily turned to Ethan. "I don't know what I'd do without you two." "You won't have to find out," Ethan said softly. "We're seeing this through." Before she could respond, Lily's phone buzzed another message. Expecting Jason, she almost didn't check. But the sender made her blood run cold. "Megan?" The text read, "Lily, please call me. You don't understand what Jason told me. You're in danger. It's not just him." Lily stared at the screen, dread pooling in her stomach, because the next message revealed a name Lily never expected to see. Lily's hands trembled as she opened Megan's second message. Ethan leaned in slightly, ready to support her if the news was overwhelming. Caroline returned from the hallway, sensing tension instantly. "What's wrong?" she asked. Lily swallowed. "Megan says, the danger isn't just Jason. She mentioned someone else." Caroline's brows knit. "Show me." Lily handed her the phone. The text read, "He lied to me too. I didn't realize what he was involved in. I'm so sorry, Lily, but the person you need to worry about isn't him. It's the man he owes." Ethan stiffened. "What man?" A new message came in before Lily could respond. "You know the construction client he bragged about? The one funding his new project? He's not a client, he's a private lender. Jason borrowed money from him, money he couldn't repay. And now he's desperate." Caroline exhaled sharply. "This explains the forged documents. Jason didn't just want to control Lily. He needed her credit, her clean record to cover his tracks." Ethan looked at Lily with renewed urgency. "Lily, this is bigger than domestic manipulation. If Jason is tied up with private lenders, especially off-record ones, he may be more unstable than we thought." Lily's chest tightened. "So he's dangerous because he's scared. And he thinks I'm the solution." "Not anymore," Caroline said. "We cut the financial ties today. But first, we need to get to the courthouse before Jason pulls anything else." Caroline grabbed her briefcase, motioning for them to leave. As they headed for the door, Lily hesitated. What if Jason comes here again? Or sends someone? "The building is monitored," Caroline assured her. "But once the order is approved, we'll request law enforcement to check this location regularly." Ethan placed a steady hand on Lily's arm. "We won't let anything happen to you." They stepped into the hallway, and for a moment, Lily felt grounded again between the two people who believed in her more than she believed in herself. The elevator reached the ground floor with a dull chime, and the trio walked toward the exit. Outside, a thin winter sun cast long shadows down the block. A car drove past slowly, too slowly, its tinted windows impossible to see through. Caroline noticed it too. "Don't look," she murmured, guiding Lily toward the taxi waiting at the curb. But Lily couldn't help glancing back. The car brake lights flickered on, then off, then on again. A signal. Her blood ran cold. At that same moment, Caroline's phone vibrated. She glanced at the screen, and her face blanched. "It's the courthouse," she whispered. "Something's happened." Ethan leaned in. "What is it?" Caroline looked at Lily, eyes sharp with alarm. "Jason beat us there. And he filed something meant to destroy you before we can speak." The taxi sped through Manhattan traffic as Caroline explained what Jason had done. "He filed an emergency motion," she said, her tone clipped with frustration. "He's alleging you're mentally unstable due to pregnancy complications and that you're a danger to your own child." Lily stared at her, stunned. "He's trying to take my baby?" "That's exactly what he's trying to set up," Caroline replied. "He knows custody rulings favor mothers unless there's a proven issue, so he's creating one." Ethan clenched his jaw, leaning forward. "This is beyond manipulation. He's trying to erase her." Lily swallowed back tears. "He knows how much this baby means to me. Why would he do this?" "Because he's drowning," Caroline said, her voice steady but sympathetic. "People like Jason cling to whatever control they have left. And right now, that's you." Traffic halted abruptly as the driver hit the brakes, jolting them all forward. A siren wailed behind them. Lily glanced out the window. An ambulance was racing past. For a fleeting moment, she envied the clarity of an emergency. At least in a crisis, people knew what to do. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Megan. It was her mother's caregiver. "Ma'am, it's about your mother," the voicemail began. "She collapsed this morning. They're transferring her to County General. They need a family member present." Lily's entire world tilted. She replayed the message, her heart squeezing painfully. "No, no, no," she whispered, covering her mouth. "She was doing better last week. She promised she'd rest." Ethan's expression softened instantly. "Lily, I'm so sorry." Caroline placed a firm hand on Lily's shoulder. "We'll reroute to the hospital. Family emergencies take priority." The driver changed lanes, speeding toward County General. Lily stared out the window, blinking rapidly, fighting the hopelessness threatening to swallow her. "My mother doesn't even know what's happening with Jason," she whispered. "I didn't tell her. I didn't want to worry her." She wouldn't blame you, Ethan said gently. You're carrying too much already. When they reached the hospital, Lily rushed inside, her breath uneven. A nurse recognized her immediately. Are you Lily Hartman? Your mother is in critical care. She lost consciousness, but they stabilized her. Can I see her? Lily begged. In a moment, the doctor will speak with you first. The minutes stretched into an eternity. Finally, the doctor approached with a chart in hand. She's asking for you, he said, but she's weak. You'll need to keep the conversation brief. Lily nodded, wiping her eyes. She followed the doctor toward the ICU, each step heavier than the last. Through the glass window, she saw her mother pale, fragile, wires everywhere. But when her mother lifted her eyes and whispered her name, Lily felt her heart break. Sweetheart, there's something. I need to tell you. Lily stepped closer. What is it, Mom? Her mother's lips trembled. Jason came to see me. Lily's breath caught in her throat as her mother's trembling words sank in. Jason came to see you, she whispered, gripping the side of the hospital bed. Her mother nodded weakly. He said you were confused. That you were making mistakes, that you weren't safe alone. She paused for air. He wanted to know where you were staying now. Lily felt her knees wobble. Mom, no. You didn't tell him. I didn't, her mother interrupted, mustering what little strength she had. But he scared me. He said he was the only one who could protect you. I didn't know what to believe. A wave of nausea hit Lily not from pregnancy, but from the chilling realization that Jason had already started poisoning anyone connected to her. Her world was shrinking under his shadow. Before she could respond, Ethan entered the room quietly. His expression softened when he saw her mother, but the tension in his posture betrayed the storm brewing behind his calm exterior. Mrs. Hartman? He said gently. I'm Dr. Vance. It's good you're awake. Her mother offered a faint smile. You're the doctor my daughter keeps thanking under her breath. Lily blushed despite everything. Ethan moved closer, not hovering, but present, and turned his attention back to Lily. Caroline updated me, he said. The emergency hearing has been moved forward. They want you there in 2 hours. Lily blinked. I can't leave. Not until I know she's stable. I'll be fine, her mother whispered, squeezing Lily's hand with surprising strength. Go fight for yourself. Fight for the baby. I'm not going anywhere. The conviction in her voice grounded Lily long enough for her to straighten her back and nod. Okay, I'll go. End quote. As Lily and Ethan stepped into the hallway, Caroline hurried toward them, phone pressed to her ear. New development, she said the moment she hung up. Jason filed a statement claiming he visited your mother out of concern. He's painting you as emotionally volatile. Lily's voice cracked. He's using her illness against me. Yes, Caroline said bluntly, but he may have overplayed his hand. If he pressured a medically fragile patient, it could work in our favor legally. Ethan frowned. That depends on proving he was there with harmful intent. Caroline nodded. And we might be able to. A nurse says she saw him arguing with someone in the hallway. Lily's heart raced. Finally, a crack in Jason's armor. But as they reached the exit doors, Caroline's phone buzzed again. She checked it and her face went pale. What now? Ethan asked. Caroline looked at Lily, eyes tight with urgency. Jason just requested temporary custody of the baby, and the judge agreed to hear his motion today. The city blurred past the taxi windows as Lily pressed a trembling hand to her belly, trying to steady her breathing. The idea of Jason requesting temporary custody felt like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Ethan sat beside her, deliberately calm, while Caroline fielded calls in the front seat. He's trying to weaponize your pregnancy, Caroline said, finally lowering her phone. He wants to convince the court you're unfit until after the baby is born. Lily's chest tightened. He never wanted to go to doctor appointments. He never asked about the baby. Why is he pretending now? Because custody gives him leverage, Caroline replied, and leverage is the only thing keeping him afloat. As they reached the courthouse, reporters lined the steps, cameras ready. Lily froze. They're here for Jason, Ethan murmured, not you. And, still, Lily whispered, shrinking back instinctively. I don't want them seeing me like this. Ethan gently placed a hand between her shoulder blades, guiding her toward the side entrance. You're not facing them alone. Inside, the courthouse buzzed with tension. Clerks rushed past, phones rang constantly, and every echoing footstep felt too loud. Caroline led them to a small conference room where they could wait. I'm going to speak to the judge's assistant, Caroline said. Stay here, and don't open the door unless I say so. When the door closed behind her, silence settled over the room. Ethan turned to Lily, his voice low and warm. You've handled everything that's been thrown at you, he said. You can handle this too. Lily's eyes shone with exhaustion. I'm just so tired. I don't want to keep fighting him. You're not fighting him, Ethan said softly. You're protecting your child. That's different. Before she could reply, the doorknob rattled. Lily's breath caught. Caroline? No answer. The knob turned again, more forcefully this time. Ethan's posture shifted instantly, shoulders squaring, voice firm. Who is it? A familiar voice seeped through the crack in the door, smooth and venomous. Lily, we need to talk before the hearing. Her heart plummeted. Jason. Ethan stepped closer to the door. You're not allowed near her. Step away now. Jason chuckled quietly. Relax, doctor. I just want what's best for my family. Lily knows that. Lily's stomach twisted. He sounded calm, too calm. The kind of calm that always preceded something dangerous. Lily, Jason murmured, lowering his voice. Open the door. I need to explain everything before the judge sees us. Ethan shook his head firmly, mouthing, Don't say a word. Then footsteps approached from the hallway, fast, urgent. The door swung open, and Caroline burst in, breathless. Her face was pale. Lily, she said, gripping the table for support. We have a much bigger problem. Your bank accounts were emptied this morning. All of them. For a moment, Lily couldn't breathe. The walls of the conference room seemed to close in around her as Caroline's words settled heavy, impossible. My bank accounts? She whispered. All of them? Caroline nodded grimly. You had $14,200 across checking and savings. There's less than $50 left. Ethan's eyes widened with disbelief. How? Jason doesn't have access to her accounts. As weak, Caroline inhaled sharply. He shouldn't. But the transfers were done through online verification. Someone used Lily's personal security questions. Lily felt sick. He used the answers I told him years ago. I never changed them. I didn't think he'd ever. He did, Caroline said. He drained everything to make you look financially unstable. He wants the judge to believe you can't provide for the baby. The door suddenly swung open, and a young clerk leaned inside. Miss Rhodes? The judge will see you in 20 minutes. You'll need to prepare rebuttal evidence. Caroline nodded. Tell them we'll be ready. But as soon as the clerk left, she turned back to Lily. We need something solid to undermine Jason's credibility. Something more than emotional testimony. Ethan paced, thinking, then stopped abruptly. Brooke. Lily blinked. Jason's mistress? She contacted you yesterday, Ethan said. She sent proof of the forged documents. If she testifies that Jason manipulated her and lied about your mental state, it weakens his entire case. Caroline nodded slowly. She could be our wild card. As if summoned, Lily's phone buzzed. A new message. Brooke, I have more documents, but I can't keep them. He's losing control. Tell me where to meet. Caroline's eyes sharpened. This could turn the entire hearing. Lily typed back, fingers trembling. Are you safe? Brooke replied instantly. No, and neither are you. Jason left the office early. He knows the judge is seeing you. He's planning something. Ethan stepped closer, voice low. Caroline, we need Brooke in a controlled environment, not on the street, not anywhere Jason can reach her. I agree, Caroline said. I'll request a secure witness room. Lily asked Brooke to come to the courthouse side entrance. Lily hesitated, then typed, Come to the courthouse, side door, security will meet you. 3 dots appeared. Then Brooke's final message arrived. Okay, but hurry. Someone from Jason's team is following me. Before Lily could react, another phone buzzed Caroline's. She checked the caller ID, her face tightening. It's courthouse security. She answered quickly. This is Caroline Rhodes. A voice crackled urgently through the line. Ma'am, we found something outside the building. Something addressed to your client. Lily's heart dropped. Addressed? To me? Caroline listened, her face draining of color. She hung up slowly and looked at Lily and Ethan. Someone left a sealed envelope on the courthouse steps, with your name on it and Jason's handwriting all over it. Caroline held the phone in her hand as if it were burning. Lily watched her, pulse hammering, waiting for her to explain. Ethan stepped closer to her instinctively, as though ready to shield her from whatever would come next. Caroline finally spoke. Security says the envelope was placed very deliberately. No postage, no fingerprints on the outside, just Lily's name in Jason's handwriting. Lily's stomach churned. What's inside? They didn't open it, Caroline replied. They wanted my authorization first. Ethan frowned. Could it be a threat? Possibly. But if it's a confession or documentation he wants to use against her, it could blow up in his face. Caroline motioned for them to follow. We need to see it. Thanks for watching. They hurried down the courthouse hallway to a secured room where 2 officers waited. On the metal table sat a cream-colored envelope, thick, heavy, and unmistakably written in Jason's bold handwriting. Lily froze. Something about it felt wrong. Too intentional. Too personal. Open it, she whispered. Caroline put on gloves and carefully slid a letter opener under the seal. Inside was a stack of papers neatly clipped, almost formal. She lifted the first page and scanned it. Her jaw dropped. Oh my God. Ethan leaned in. What is it? It's a financial declaration, Caroline breathed. One he should have filed weeks ago. She flipped through the papers quickly. And he signed it under penalty of perjury. Is that bad for him? Lily asked, her voice small. It's catastrophic, Caroline said. He listed debts you never consented to share. He admitted to moving funds. And she stopped abruptly, eyes widening even more. He claimed you approved it all in writing. Lily nearly collapsed. What? I know, Caroline assured her, placing the papers on the table. But this version contains forged signatures. Badly forged. No judge will believe this over your original documents. Ethan exhaled. So, he panicked. He rushed this. He thought he could outmaneuver the system by overwhelming it. And instead, Caroline said, he handed us evidence he committed fraud, financial abuse, identity manipulation. She shook her head. This could turn the custody case completely. Lily stared at the papers, proof of every lie he'd woven, proof he was unraveling. But before relief could settle, one of the officers stepped forward. Miss Rhodes, that's not all. What else? Caroline asked. The officer held up a smaller note found inside the envelope. A handwritten message addressed directly to Lily. Caroline read it aloud quietly. I didn't want it to come to this. But if I'm going down, I'm not going alone. Lily's breath hitched. He wrote that? There's more, the officer said grimly. A witness saw someone drop the envelope. Caroline stiffened. Jason? The officer shook his head. No, a woman, mid-20 seconds, blonde, looked nervous. Lily's heart stopped. Brooke. Ethan met her eyes. If Brooke delivered this, it means she's running out of time. Ethan exchanged a tense look with Caroline as Lily tried to steady her breathing. The realization that Brooke had delivered the envelope herself, knowing it contained incriminating evidence, made the situation even more volatile. Brooke wasn't just scared. She was desperate. Caroline folded the forged financial papers and tucked them into her case. We need Brooke alive and in one piece. Her testimony could dismantle Jason's entire argument. Lily swallowed hard. What if Jason got to her first? That's exactly what I'm worried about, Caroline replied. If she's the one who left the envelope, she might be trying to warn us or distance herself from him before everything explodes. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on Lily's shoulder. Brooke reached out to you because she realized Jason isn't just dangerous to you. He's a danger to anyone tied to him. Before Lily could respond, her phone buzzed again. Another message from Brooke. Short? Panicked? He's angry. He knows I took something from his office. Please meet me. I can't go to the courthouse entrance. Too many eyes. Attached was a location pin. A cafe just 2 blocks away. Public enough to feel safe, but close enough to the courthouse for her to make it back in minutes. Caroline inhaled sharply. We cannot split up right now. But Lily shook her head. If she disappears, I lose the only witness who can prove he forged everything. Ethan stepped in front of her. You're not going alone. I'll go with you. Caroline hesitated. This is risky. Jason could be tracking her. Or following her. He's tracking everyone, Ethan said quietly. But if Brooke is on the edge, we need to reel her in now before Jason silences her. Caroline exhaled. Fine. But you both stay in public view. and call me the second you reach her. They exited the courthouse through a side door, blending into the flow of foot traffic on the busy Manhattan sidewalk. The winter air cut through Lily's coat, each gust carrying the weight of the morning's revelations. The cafe appeared at the corner, a narrow storefront with fogged-up windows and a flickering neon sign. Lily scanned the tables outside, heart pounding. No, Brooke. Ethan checked his phone. The pin is accurate. She should be right here. Lily stepped closer, peering through the glass. That's when she saw it. A purse on an empty chair. Brooke's. She recognized the silver initials. But no Brooke. Ethan moved inside, Lily following close behind. The barista looked up nervously. Are you looking for the blonde woman? She was just here, he said, but she left in a hurry. Someone came in, whispered something, and she panicked. Lily felt the room tilt. Who came in? The barista glanced toward the window. I didn't see his face. But he had a dark coat and he kept checking his phone, like he was watching someone. Ethan stiffened. Jason. But the barista shook his head slowly. No, the name the woman said before she ran out, it wasn't Jason. End quote. He hesitated before finishing. She said, he sent Eric. The name hit Lily like a physical blow. Eric, not Jason. Someone worse, someone she'd never met, but whose shadow lingered behind every debt Jason created. Ethan placed a steadying hand on her arm as the color drained from her face. Lily, breathe, he urged softly. But she couldn't. A knot of fear tightened around her ribcage, squeezing until her vision blurred. She clutched the table for balance, and that's when a sharp pain rippled across her abdomen. Not just tension, not anxiety. A contraction. Ethan's expression shifted instantly from concern to clinical focus. Lily, look at me. How far apart has the pain been? She tried to speak, but another wave hit stronger this time. She gasped, gripping Ethan's sleeve. It just started, but it's sharp, too sharp. Ethan knelt beside her chair, his voice low and calm. Okay, we're going to the hospital right now. You're 34 weeks, the baby might be early, but we're prepared. Caroline burst into the cafe at that moment, eyes wide. I just got your message. Where's Brooke? She ran, Ethan said, and someone named Eric is after her. Caroline swore under her breath, then noticed Lily's posture. Oh God, Lily, are you? She's contracting, Ethan said. We need to move. Thanks for watching. End quote. The taxi ride to Manhattan General was a blur of flashing lights and shallow breaths. Lily leaned against Ethan, trying not to panic as the contractions grew closer together. Fear twisted inside her, but beneath it, a fragile thread of hope. She wanted her baby safe. She wanted to hold something in her arms that Jason could never poison or steal. At the hospital, nurses rushed her into a delivery room. Ethan stayed by her side, gloving up as they prepped her. Caroline called the judge, explaining the emergency. The hearing would be rescheduled. Lily barely heard any of it. The world narrowed to the sound of her heartbeat and the rhythm of her breaths. Hours blurred. Nurses whispered updates. Machines beeped steadily. Finally, with one final push, a sharp cry pierced the room, pure, strong, alive. Her baby boy. They placed him on her chest, tiny and warm, and Lily burst into tears. Relief. Love. Freedom. Everything crashed over her at once. He's beautiful, Ethan whispered, wiping a tear from his own cheek. You did it, Lily. He's safe. But before Lily could fully absorb the moment, a nurse hurried into the room, her expression tight. Miss Hartman, I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a serious issue. Ethan straightened. What is it? The nurse glanced between them, hesitant. There's a man downstairs demanding access to the baby. He says he's the father and that he has a court order. Lily felt the world tilt. Caroline stepped closer, whispering urgently, It's not Jason. For a moment, Lily couldn't process the nurse's words. Not Jason? Then who was demanding access to her newborn son? Ethan's hand tightened gently around her wrist, grounding her as Caroline stepped forward, her voice low and steady. Who is he? Caroline asked the nurse. He identified himself as Eric, the nurse said. He claims he has legal interest in the child due to financial entanglements with the father. Is. Lily's breath hitched. No, he has nothing to do with my baby. Caroline exhaled sharply. He's using Jason's debt as leverage. He thinks that gives him rights. It doesn't. Ethan moved toward the door. I'm going downstairs. No, Caroline said firmly, stepping in front of him. Security will handle Eric. You stay with Lily. Minutes later, 2 officers entered the room. Miss Hartman. Eric was escorted off the premises. He has no legal grounds. He won't be allowed back. 4. Lily's entire body loosened with relief. She gazed down at her baby, his tiny fingers curled against her skin. This was what mattered. This moment. This life. But the storm wasn't over until the court said it was. 2 days later, Lily, still weak but determined, sat inside the family courtroom. Ethan was beside her. Caroline stood ready with enough evidence to bury Jason's lies permanently. Jason entered wearing a forced smile, but his confidence crumbled the moment Caroline presented the forged documents, the fraudulent financial statements, the manipulative emails, and Brooke's sworn affidavit delivered earlier that morning. Brooke, pale and shaken, had managed to arrive safely. Eric had been arrested overnight on unrelated charges, breaking Jason's final line of defense. The judge listened silently, then turned to Jason. Mr. Colwood, your behavior demonstrates a clear pattern of deception, coercion, and endangerment. You will have no custody, no unsupervised visitation, and no financial access to Miss Hartman or the child. Further, criminal charges regarding fraud and identity misuse will be pursued. Jason's face drained of color. For the first time, he looked powerless. Lily felt a weight lift from her chest, heavy, slow, but real. Outside the courthouse, the winter light felt softer, almost warm. Ethan walked beside her, carrying the baby's car seat with surprising tenderness. You're free now, he said quietly. Lily nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks not from fear, but from release. I didn't think I'd ever feel safe again. Ethan hesitated, then met her eyes. I can't pretend to know everything you've been through. But if you ever want more than safety, if you're open to something steady, something real, I'd like to be part of your future. End quotes. Lily looked at him, her newborn cradled against her heart, and for the first time in months, hope didn't feel dangerous. It's time for a new beginning, she whispered. And as she stepped forward, she knew she was walking into a life Jason could never touch again. All right, my wonderful friends. So the story has finally come to an end. And if you're still here, listening to every beat of Lily's journey, it tells me one thing. Something in this story touched your heart. Maybe it reflected a pain you once carried. Maybe it reminded you of your own strength. Or maybe it whispered a truth you needed to hear. Here's the thing. Life will always test us. People may betray us, hurt us, underestimate us. But, as Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Lily's suffering didn't end her, it shaped her, cleared the path for something better. And that's a reminder for all of us. We cannot control what others do, but we can choose how we rise. If you're going through something heavy right now, I hope her story reminds you, you deserve safety. You deserve peace. You deserve love that never makes you afraid. And hey, if you felt even a little bit seen today, do me a small favor. Like this video, share it with someone who needs strength tonight, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another story that just might heal you the way this one did. We're here together, you and I, and there's so much more to tell.